real shorty today, only like basically 3 pages, which is short for a corrections, but you know what? I can't help it. We were pretty on it this week. I did make a mistake in the last corrections. I said that when Alan Cumming and Ali Larter were on the show, it was the first time in history we had both guests whose first 2 letters of their name were AL. Not only was that not the case, it's happened multiple times with Alan Cumming. He appeared the first time he was on the show with Alicia Vikander, then later with the author Alexander Chee, and then, of course, most famously, Alf. Remember? Oh, who can forget that? Alf wanted to eat Frisbee so bad. And we were like, she's not a cat. I bet Sandberg has an Alf. Oh, Buck replaced with a cameraman named Dan. I realized I mentioned Dan. I don't know Dan's last name, so I went this week and asked the crew. I'm like, hey, what's Dan's last name? And they were like, which Dan? I was like, the new cameraman. They go, oh, Quiet Dan? I wore a Jets sweater last week that had been sent to me. I wanted to bring it out because, I don't know, I hadn't even noticed, but there were rips here and here. That's how it came, okay? It came like that. It didn't, like more than one person suggested, rip when I tried to get it over my ears. Somebody wrote in, 2 losers in the same picture, Seth and the Jets. So thanks for that comment. Biff Tannen. Been a while. Oh my God, it's so long, I don't even have his name up. I mean, there's like no chance, but he might have an Alf. One of my closest friends. Hey!
Hey, what's up, Seth?
Real quick, do you have an Alf impression?
No problem.
Can you do it one more time?
No problem.
And now, can you do Barney from The Simpsons? Thanks, buddy. I love you. Matt Fraction, comic book legend Matt Fraction, sent in that Mandelbrot Seth image. And he promised me it was a good math joke. The Jackals concurred. Everybody said that is a really good math joke. By the way, that doesn't mean it's a good joke. It's a good math joke. It's like, if you put math in front of something, it doesn't make you more excited about it, right? Someone's like, oh, I want you to meet my friend. You'd be like, sure. If they were like, I want you to meet my math friend, you'd be like. Somebody, though, I like this. Somebody said, Mandelbrot Seth is a good joke. Actually, though, it should be a Julia Seth derivation. So, everybody check on that for me. Somebody said last week's correction had the worst Marv Albert impression ever. Because we played someone yelling, yes. That was an actual recording of Marv Albert. Man, it's rough when you have to go back to impressions camp to relearn yourself. They're like, wait, so you're about Marv Albert and you're here to learn how to do Marv Albert. Yes! All right, so this was I got a lot of comments or something. I had Connor Story from Heated Rivalry, a show that, as I keep telling my wife, I watch for the hockey. Anyway, I was complimenting Connor on his Russian accent. despite the fact that he's from Texas. And then later he said what part of Texas he was from, which was Odessa, Texas. And then I said, as names go, the most Russian part. Well, that was a big mistake by me. Odessa's a part of Ukraine. Not only that, it's a part of Ukraine that Russia is currently attacking. So certainly, if you're from that part of the world, you probably did not care for me calling it the Russian part of Texas. And I want to apologize. A lot of people said you should be ashamed of yourself. I'm not ashamed of myself because it was an honest mistake, but I am very sorry. I'll tell you who should be ashamed of themselves is my middle school geography teacher. And if you want to contact him, we're going to put his information up so you can do that. And I also am aware of the fact that I made this mistake that was upsetting, understandably, to so many people in the middle of our most watched interview in the last 5 years, and I'm correcting it in the body of a digital exclusive. But in my research, guess who I found out is from Odessa? Yakov Smirnov. That's just true stuff, shoo. We had a joke about how only 21% of people are satisfied with Donald Trump's second term so far. And then I said 21% are satisfied. Who did you poll? My ex-girlfriends? And someone said, that joke would have worked if it was 20, because I would believe that you satisfied 1 of 5 women. But I refuse to believe you've satisfied 21 of 100 women. That was sent in by my math friend. We said Udders had different sodas. And a lot of people were like, yeah, Mountain Dew is not owned by Coke. They would never be on the same soda machine. And I'm like, so who looks at this and is like, gotcha? We cut to Wally yesterday in a closer look. He was going to have a cue card that said, we are at war with Iceland now too. Obviously, he said we're at war with Iceland now too. We do have a saying here. As soon as you put Wally on camera, the first thing to go is the grammar. Wally even says, he's like, yeah, pick one, the grammar or the camera. This is really sweet. I got a lovely, Hunter sent this in. A beautiful Frisbee and a lovely memento of my dog. And of course, whenever anybody sends something lovely with Frisbee's image on it, what do? We send it to Andy. So, we take out our box and get it off to I didn't know he was going to answer and be cool. Hunter also sent this one in. I'm going to save this one. It's pretty good. It's a pretty good Frisbee. All right, like I said, it was a short one, but pretty fun. Oh, hey, before I forget, next week, you have a very small window of time to get this done. Stephen Colbert is going to be on the show. And so, like, if you've ever seen anything on his show that you want to correct, like, get it in the comments under this video, and I'll just come at him. Having fun here? No. No, I don't miss Buck. You're great. No. What? See me next week.